Yeah, well, the actual, supporting causes and conservation and our hunting heritage, that is really important to us. And um, we tag it to our sales, so we just would long to sell more to be able to give more. But I guess integrity to me is I want whatever area of my life, I want when someone scratches or digs deeper, it's only better when they dig, not they come through the veneer and I see this was all smoke and mirrors. And if somebody really scratches and digs and follows uh, what we are doing, when you buy Hunter's Blend coffee, there are 80 women hand sorting coffee in Thailand that goes in our black powder blend. Who were most of them were sex trafficked. They're now have jobs with purpose because of the several containers we take a year out of there. Um, there's health clinics, water wells, kids in school. There's teachers in schools that had no teacher on the farms in Nicaragua because of our 3 or 4 containers a year that we take out of there. And it's probably most sportsmen, most hunters aren't really motivated kind of with a bleeding heart. I'm going to buy coffee that creates jobs in Southeast Asia. They just
Yeah.
don't think that way. But when we say it's coffee with a purpose, brother, sister, there's a purpose, and that's what gets us up every day. That's why we're doing this. I might enjoy plumbing, I might enjoy laying block or stone, but I do this because it's changing lives and changing villages, and that's ultimately what we're trying to do.
Yeah, that's incredible. It's it's interesting that you mentioned those women that are going through that. Of course, that terrible part of their life that are coming. I guess they're coming out of it at that point. That
Yep,
sex trafficking thing. That's
yep,
something that I guess is coming to light a lot here lately. Is the that whole arena and what all is involved with that. And it's actually funny because I'm wearing my Operation Underground Railroad bracelet right now.
uh,
But those guys they do a lot of good work. So do you have relationships with people where I don't know, this wasn't something that we had planned on talking about, but do you guys have like relationships with people that help women, find jobs with, maybe coffee
yeah,
farms, or
yeah,
you guys have programs where you can help these women out, or even children out, or even men out? I mean, whoever else is involved
yeah.
in these processes, is that something you guys work with?
Yes, and of course, we're not the lead in it at all. The people on the ground in Thailand. What you really have are the people that are growing the coffee in the northern part are one of 7 hill tribes. There's 7 to 8 hill tribes that are semi-migratory. They kind of follow the harvest up and down. And for probably decades, they grew poppy and heroin. The whole uh, why am I blanking out here? Poppy. What's the crop?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's all right. I don't know either. So.
yeah. I was not a big user in my day, but so the government made them tear out the poppy plant, opium trade. They made them
Yeah,
pull out the opium and plant coffee. Well, they were tea drinkers. They weren't even really and coffee. They didn't know what good coffee was, and so probably 30, 40 years it just kind of languished and didn't didn't go anywhere. But those hill tribes were growing opium and growing coffee, and it was just those villages. The women would just kind of get lost, and uh, I, it's really hard to talk about because I have seen it where you have extreme poverty, and let's say you've got 4 or 5 children, 3 of them are girls. One of them's particularly attractive than the others. Um, you know you probably don't know everything, but you know there's supposedly this guy can get her work in Bangkok, and a steady stream of money will be coming home to you. You don't ask any
Yeah.
questions. You know it's probably something bad, and
Right.
you're told it's restaurant work. So it's and I don't know, I don't know who all listens to the podcast. I really do not want to misrepresent this, but in many cases, it's actual parents out of desperation
Yeah.
needing. Will take. It's almost like we've got 5 kids. We're all going to starve. We're going to give one to this industry, and maybe the other 4 of us can live. And it's a tough choice. But when there's real jobs in the village, that all goes away. It goes straight to the heart of that desperation. There's work, and a woman. I mean, that's not what she wants to do. I would think. So when they hear there's work back home, they find their way back. So a guy named Pat, he's from the Aka tribe. He's probably 35 years old. He's the guy that I work with. He's the one that has just the whole. He's a pastor, uh, and he also owned his parents' coffee farm. And he organized 24 farmers into a group called a Bonzo, and so they put out the word we need people to sort coffee. And 80 they hired 80 women, and it takes them like 8 months just to hand sort our coffee each year. So the other months they're doing some pruning and some picking. They're full-time working for this company. And Pat's sister has a sewing operation. I mean, they do world class, as good as Bradley, Myrna Bradley, whatever purses.
Yeah.
I don't buy purses either, but so there's another 50 or 60 women sewing purses and things that are sold throughout Asia, and we sell them in our coffee shop and distribute them across. So it's just, we're not there on the ground organizing anything or calling any shots. We just are trying to create a suction for their products that they only need to hire more people and get more people rescued out of that.
Yeah, that's great because I mean that's something like that whole industry in and of itself. There's a lot of evil going on in that industry, and it's an industry literally built on evil, and it's
Mm.
I think there's a lot of resources and a lot of news that are coming out now about industries like that. I don't know. I guess it's empowerment from the president. It's just different organizations like Operation Underground Railroad. I know Tim Tebow. He's joined in the fight with it. There's a End It movement that seems to occur on an annual basis. There's a lot of notoriety and a lot of publicity that's
Yeah,
getting around about that whole industry now, and it's a great thing because a lot more people are becoming aware. And you mentioned like parents getting their kids involved in it out of desperation, and that's something that it happens. As much as I hate to say it, it happens here in our country.
right.
Like it happens, just about everywhere. And I was listening to uh shoot, I can't think of the guy's name now. Anyway, it's a guy from South Africa who he just came over here not too long ago. I think is Jocko Booyens, I think is
Oh,
his
yeah,
name.
there's Josh. I've
Yeah.
heard of that guy. Yeah,
Yeah, so he was discussing how pretty much that any zip code in the United States, there's a possibility of it going on, regardless of rural opportunities or regardless of urban areas.
yeah,
And it's something that is truly tragic. And if I can, use this podcast to even bring one person to
yeah.
research it even more, and of course you guys doing it where you're getting women and children out of that opportunity and finding them work that is sustainable and work that doesn't involve that is just that's awesome. And I think it's something that definitely commend you guys for.
I just think we don't really appreciate the power of a job. And when unemployment in many of these countries is so high, and for the Aka, these hill tribes, they don't have citizenship automatic. So they're kind of like an animal, anyways. They can be treated. You can work for a whole month and go to collect your paycheck, and the guy says, I don't owe you anything." You can
Yeah.
get mad, get upset, but you have no recourse because you don't have an ID. You don't exist. And when you've got a whole segment of society that don't have IDs and don't exist, you talk about slavery and in enslavement. It's rampant.